And alright, here we are with my first real tutorial about an advancing thing that you can do with this script. So what I want to do today is creating basically a glowing gun, a gun that shoots a projectile that when it hits an enemy or a target, let's say that, or a monster, whatever you want, it will make it of a certain color and a glowing light. So for this one you need quite a bit of knowledge about basic stuff that you can do with Z script and SND info GLDef. Basically you need to know how to make a weapon, so I won't show you how to make a weapon, etc. So let's say that this is already an advanced tutorial, but let's start straight on. So to make this stuff a bit easier and faster, I've already downloaded a made-up gun by Riam667. In this case I've downloaded the Sting Cannon because I think it looks pretty nice, and I'm going to make my glowing gun. So you just have to make a new project, a new archive, if you want to make this in a PK3. I definitely prefer the PK3 because everything is perfectly ordered in folders and subfolders, etc. So how can you already say I've already converted the Sting Cannon actor, which was written in Decorate, and I've converted it in this script so that I can directly start with my modifications. It's not really hard, you just need to add the default thing, change the actor in a class, and add tons of semicolons here and there. So first thing to do, since I want to make my life a bit easier, let's just inherit from the shotgun, so that I already have the weapon in my arsenal without having to change the player class or anything else, and replace the shotgun. Now I don't need to give this weapon the shotgun slot though. This is not optional. What was the properties? I keep forgetting the things. So even if it's a Z script, you can just change the text language to Decorate so that Slade can complete the stuff that you don't remember, because apparently Slade doesn't have Z script documentation in it. Okay, weapon wasn't the weapon slot. What the fuck? What slot number? Alright, 3. Like the shotgun. It will use clips, whatever. This is just the Sting Cannon itself. Alright, so what we need to do is to make changes to the projectile. Actually, the gun has nothing to do with the glowing stuff. So you have 2 ways to do this, depending on what you want to reach. There's the simple way, which implies that the monster that has been hit will be glowing forever, or you can make the hard and long way, if you want, for example, the glow to last the time that you need to, or something else. If you want, for example, to remove the glowing when the monster dies or something like that, it's a bit more complicated. Another thing that can be an obstacle is the fact that to add this stuff with the projectile is quite easy. If you want to add this with hit scan weapons, well, depending on what you really want, again, because you can, for example, just make your hit scan weapon to shoot a dummy projectile that will then make the victim of the heat to glow. Or you can use, for example, the line tracer, but again, it's a bit more complicated. So let's start with modifying this thing. What you need to do, you just have to override a function which is special missile hit, if I remember correctly, and I need to thank a guy named Jerwil on the ZDoom forum that taught me about this thing, because I was going for the hard way to make things with the XDET states, hit the hit tracer flag, this stuff. But this is really the easy way. So override int special miss hit with actor, and you can call these whatever you want. I will call him victim, and that's it. So this is possibly the best way to do this stuff, because you literally don't have to change anything of the projectile class, not the state, not the property, anything really. First thing to do, we need to check if the victim is not the player, and in this case the target. We quite need to do this because usually when the player or anything else shoots something, the projectile will spawn basically inside the shooter. So we need to be sure that we're not coloring the player, for example. So if the victim is not the target, we can just call the set translation. Okay, set translation, here it is, from here, and we'll directly change the translation of the victim, or in this case the actor that we hit with our weapon. We'll go back to the actual translation later. Let's just say that we want, for example, to make the victim to glow. If you know the basics of GLDFs, you know that you need to specify in the lamp the actor that you want the light to be, basically. But there's a nice little function, victim, yeah, sure, that you that you can call directly from here, which is attach light. Remember, attach light, not attach light def, because attach light def will attach directly a light that you already created inside the GLDF's lamp, like this, for example. If I go with this one, I just need to add a name for the light. This is, for example, green light. This is only the ID of the light, not the actual name of the light. This will you can use this ID to, for example, remove the light later on, so that you need to just write remove light def or whatever it is, green light, and this is the actual name, which you need to define inside the GLDFs. I've already done this, and I made a pulse light called green light. As you can see, there's no object in here because the object is not defined yet, because it has to be any actor that the weapons or the projectile hits. So nothing in here except for the light definitions and light in here, and you're basically done. When this projectile hits an actor, you will set this translation that again we'll see in a moment, and we'll attach to it this green light. Let's go back, because we don't want to do this stuff, but we want to do this. Actually, Slate won't help you to fill the missing parameters of a touch light, because it's just because it is a script function only. And since I don't remember the thing, I will just straight up copy the thing from the glowing gun, the test glow gun that I have already made. Here we go. Everything is here, the magic of editing. Of course, I will leave every link to the documentation that you can find in the wiki in the description of the video. But for now, let's just say that. Again, this is the light ID, I will glow it greeny glow. This is the type of the light that I want to attach to the thing, to the actor actually. You can find the various type inside the documentation on the wiki again, and I will attach a dynamic a pulse light. This is the color of the light. You can choose directly a color that exists inside the GC Zoom PK3. Inside this this lab here, you can find all of the colors that are already defined and that you can use in these cases. But in my case I just want a green light. Then you have the radius, a starting radius of the light, and if you want to change the size of the light based on the size of the monster, you can just call for the radius of the monsters directly by using victim.radius. So in this case the primary size of the light will be equal to the radius of the monster. So if you hit a Mancubus, the size of the light will be definitely bigger than if you hit a Lost Soul, for example. And this is the secondary size, and I set it to basically the victim radius times 2, because again I'm making a pulse light, so it has a primary and a secondary size. These parameters will change depending on the type of light that you want to attach to the monster. This is a flag that I always like to use on dynamic lights, which is attenuate. Then you have, oh, holy crap. Then you have the offsets, which in this case is specified by a vector. So you have these parentheses, these open parentheses where you have the X, Y, and Z offsets. And again, if you want to place the light in the middle of the monster, you just have to use this kind of equation, which is the victim height, so the height of the monster. You can divide it by 2 or just multiply it by 0.5, so that the light will be perfectly centered. And basically the offset of the lights is what make me want to use this function instead of a attach light depth, because you cannot define the offset on an already defined light, or better, you can define an offset, but if you define, for example, an offset of 32, which will be perfectly at the center of, for example, a Baron of Hell, it will be quite off of, for example, an imp, which will be over his head, which is not ideal. And since you cannot change dynamically the definition of the light that you give to in the GL depth lamp, I definitely prefer to use this function. Again, it's not too easy to use, because there's no really too much documentation about it, but you can find a couple of examples around. Last, we have the parameter, which is basically unique for every type of light or so. In my case, since I'm using a pulse light, these represent the time in seconds that it will take to make an entire pulse. So 2 seconds to make the light grow bigger and then go back to smaller. You have other parameters later, but I don't need to use them. This is it. This is basically finished. Now we need to just make our translation. So let's go to our translate lamp and let's see. I've already tried a few translations. I will leave again the link of the documentation about the translate lamp and the translation in the description. So the first thing that I made is the Greeny Dude palette. So basically I'm changing all of the colors and I will translate every color on the green spectrum of the palette, which is 112 and 127. You can find these values if you just get the Zoom to WAD, for example, and go to the play pal. This is the 0 and this is the 255. This is the 112 and this is the 127. So basically I'm making all of these colors range from here to here. Or you can make a desaturated translation. You add this symbol and then you change everything else. So this is the start, which is basically black, and it will translate from the black to the 100% green. Because again, RGB, so this is the green. Or you can use a blended translation, which will basically transform every color into a grayscale and then multiply them by the color that you choose in here. So again, everything will just become a grayscale and then multiply by 100% green. Be careful in here, because the desaturated translation will use float point values from 0.0 to 2.0, while all of the others will use the usual triplets. Or you can use a tinted translation. For example, if you want to poison a monster, if you want, for example, the poison to be visible on the monster, so if you want the poison state to be visible on the monsters, you just go for the tinted translation, because you can define the amount of tint that you want to give to the monsters. In my case, I'm just going for the 50% amount of tint that I give to the monsters, in this case again, full green. And this is just a reset, because if you want to remove the translation, you have to again set another translation that will reset the thing. So since I believe the blended, the desaturated one is the best, I will use this one. So this is the name that you give to your translation. You just copy it and go back to your code and paste it in here. And since we don't want to do anything else to the monster, we can just return super dot special missile hit victim, and that's it. You save again. We need to save this as a PK3. So glowing gun, save, then we close the brackets, and so we can just go test this out in game directly. Alright, yeah, ultraviolence, why not? So let's give our sting cannon, which is in the place of the shotgun, and I believe these guys will just die in a hit, but the glow will still remain on the corpses, so let's just yep, as you can see, I'm making these guys glow. Yeah. Basically this is a radioactive gun, or like a slime gun or something like that. So here you can die, you can also die. I would like to test this out on a thing that doesn't die, like these imps. Great job, dude. As you can see, he's moving around and he just stays green, like this. And as you can see the glowing light going on. See? Glowing, deglowing, and whatever. So this is it, guys. This is how you can make monsters glow, and I hope you use this to make the world a bit better. We'll see you in the next tutorial, perhaps. Bye.